It's Nichi. Today is July 6th, 2025 here in Pacific, California. 12 miles south of San Francisco. It's been 53, 59 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 11 to 15 degrees Celsius. MedakaMetal style. Just got back from, went to a new place today, Rockaway Brewery. They just opened not too long ago. It's all good in the hood. Just wanted to observe some of the babies, or all of the babies that I brought out here for breeding purposes. I've mentioned that I was having a freaking super hard time with what I am keeping right now. It's been a week and a half since I brought them out, and I am starting to see some action. So, what time is there? It's a little bit past 2:30. 2 o'clock is prime for them when they're doing the action. But before we get into that, got this beautiful T-shirt from Medaka over on here. You could see his credentials over there. But he's been importing Medaka is over on I guess he's mostly on Instagram and Medaka Fiend, I guess. So he sent me this. This is an extra large, I think. So I got a large and it fits perfect. And I typically wear a medium, so extra large. So if you're wearing a large, you'll probably hit it right there. That's going to be the next raffle for all you Medaka head members. Let me just see. So this is a batch of the cross that I had going. These are the offsprings from my Redcliffe male to the Midnight Furl Lame female. These are like F3s at this point. And you can see how the colors are just kind of all over the place. But as far as the way I select these, it's all side view first, making sure that they're all like all balanced and they don't have irregularities like short fins, short gills and all that stuff. But when you do that, you start off with a lot of these babies, and then when you narrow it down, you're left with what you have. For these selected ones over here, it's only 3. And then for me, I just got tons of females. So it's almost down to the point where like maybe I don't have enough males to keep this lineage going, but that's a part of the excitement, right? So I had all these babies indoors just because I had them indoors. They're in a controlled environment. I finally brought them out about 2 weeks ago because it was getting a little warmer here in Pacifica. Again, low was like 50, and it only gets up to like 65. Again, the water temperature is a lot warmer, especially when you put it in containers this small. This is a NV11, so it's like 2.5 gallons. That's it. It's shallow, right? It's black. So the benefit of these containers, during the day when it's a little warm, the temperature goes up. However, because of the limited amount of water, the temperature drops at night. Man, the water fluctuates tremendously, so the water temperature goes down. So a lot of them, they are just not used to the water parameters changing so much, like temperature-wise. So you end up losing a lot of them if you are, or if they are just kept in temperatures that are just constant, right? Room temperature, or you have a heater going on or something like that. So when you start breeding, you want to really make sure like how you want to do that. See, there they go with the dance right there. Finally. So these boys and girls were not showing me anything when they were indoors. I knew I had males, I knew I had females, and they were in a constant temperature. I kept them at like 70 degrees Celsius, which is like almost 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And had 14 hours of light going on. 13 hours is what is required for the females to trigger their hormones with that temperature, right? To release. And then the males get really excited. And since I was having such a hard time with this lineage, I'm like, man, I want to risk it, and hopefully they do well outside. I waited till the low outdoors was at least 50, and I lost about 3 total in the past 2 weeks. But again, you want to keep the strong genes going, right? So these are the boys and the boy and the girl that survived, and the miracle of the sun, man. They got them dancing. Look at that. They're starting to dance. They're not full blown, but at least they're showing some interest. And again, these babies are kind of past their prime age-wise. But I was struggling so hard indoors. No action from these babies over here. These are the pure red cliffs, unfortunately, but oh well. That's how it goes. Over here, oh man, the best beer of the day is the one I am having outdoors with all you Medaka heads on the other end. And just being able to chillax with these Medakas. So over here, same thing. F3, I think, from the Redcliffe male and the Midnight Frill Lame female. These are the ones that had the darker traits, so had them separated. You could see how the black dia trait is prominent on this one. It's, again, these boys and girls, even if you put in a white container, this is a blue container, but they will not lose their color, okay? They're going to stay black. On the other hand, the ones that I have over here, they're dark or they look blackish because they're in a black container, but if I put them in a white container, they're going to turn silver. So these ones over here really kept the trait that that I like. And that's why I have these separated over here. Let me just take another real quick sip. Oh boy. Again, it's almost 3 o'clock, so p.m. So it's past their playtime when they do the menage, they call it. Again, for me, like 2 p.m. is a time where I see a lot of action. If there is any action going on, they start dancing. They start doing their thing. They do their tango, as they call it. Rock and roll. I don't know if a lot of people know, but the term rock and roll, that Elvis made it huge, right? Elvis Presley. The rock and roll term does not come from heavy metal. Rock and roll was prior to heavy metal. By the way, Black Sabbath is the godfather of heavy metal. Without Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, man, the scene we have right now with heavy metal would have never been. So Black Sabbath just had their farewell, or their last gig ever in Birmingham in the UK yesterday. I was watching that on, on a streaming device, man. Wow. They are like metal royalty, but back to rock and roll. The term rock and roll came from rocking and rolling. You rock and you roll when you're in bed, right? So this is what these babies are doing. They're not on a mattress. They're not on the kitchen sink. But they're in this NV Box 11-liter container. And finally, the conditions are right. You got plenty of sun. The water temperature in here is probably high 70s, probably like 18 degrees Celsius. And the females have released their hormones for the males to start dancing around. Again, this is the same batch from the batch that I kept indoors for this whole time. Controlled environment, constant temperature. They weren't doing anything for me. So I brought them outside. Now you have the sun, the real sun, Mother Nature. And with the fluctuation of the water temperature, perhaps, it gets chilly at night, in the morning, about 50, 51. And then as the sun rises and comes up, by around noon, the water rises. So, and around 2 p.m. when it is the warmest time of the year, or the day, I think, that's when I start seeing them rocking and rolling. And hopefully, I'll be able to save some of these babies and keep this lineage that I'm trying to keep going. And this is the beauty of it. All right, let me take a real quick sip, and then so what am I going to do after this? So right now, I'm going to keep on observing when I have the time to see which male and female pairs up well. There is a thing called, they just, even if you have a male or a female, they just don't click. Same thing with humans, right? It just doesn't click sometimes. It just doesn't click. So there's at least like 2 or almost 3 pairs about to form, dancing around. So when I do find the pairs that totally has a matchup, what I think I'm planning on doing is over here. So I just set this thing up today, getting things ready. Again, I don't have a set way of doing things. It just depends on the lineage that I'm keeping, what they behave to, and I like trying new things out. So these are just boxes, or not boxes, but buckets. I love these buckets. These are 10 liters. 10 liters is about what? 2.6 is a gallon. No. How many is a gallon? With the amount of water over here, it's probably like 2.5 gallons only, okay? The black one holds a lot of heat, like the black, but at the same time, with the black, again, the water warms up a lot more than these lighter color ones. I could tell that this is a lot warmer. But the thing is, it gets really warm, and then the water drops, right, at night. So there's a very large gap in temperature. This one will not get as warm as a black, but when it gets cold, they both get cold. They'll hit the same temperature, so the fluctuation, the high and the low gap is smaller. So I might put the pair, when I find a pair, in there. The other option that I have is these are awesome. I got these in Japan probably like a year or two years ago, maybe. I wish I could bring these back over here. They come in multiple colors. They have white, they have black, blue. Now I think they have green, but when I purchased these, they only had like black and blue. These are floaters. They just float. Again, very small, but these come in handy when you have a situation like this. This is a tub that you could get at Costco. 27 gallons. A lot of water volume. Just drill a hole over here and put this mesh. So if it pours and water rises, it starts pouring out. So you don't have to worry about them overflowing and all that stuff. It's an overflow system that I use. So the way this is you basically float them. Again, this is like a temporary apartment since they're very small. But they're not really growing anymore, size-wise. And you could just put the pair in here, and you put a floating device, or it's so small you could siphon out the eggs if you want, right? So in a container like this, I have a few more of these. You could have like you could have about 8 of these floating over here. So you could have, actually, if you have a lot, you could have 8 different pairs in here. And the beauty of this is because this is it holds 27 gallons. This is probably like 22 gallons, right? Filled like this in this tub. It's a lot of water volume. So it's not like they're in a small container with only this much water. They're actually floating within a large water volume capacity. The temperature is very consistent, meaning when it gets warm, it starts heating up. When the temperature drops, it's not going to just drop because there's a lot of water volume. The more water volume you have, the less fluctuation in temperature from cold to hot. And that's what you want. You don't want drastic changes. For medakas, when there's drastic changes from the cold to the hot, that's when a lot of them get sick. So again, a lot of water volume means stable water temperature. On top of that, a lot of water volume means there's less fluctuation in the water parameters, water quality. Imagine having a container like this. This is probably 1.5 liters, which is probably a little bit over half a gallon. And if you have 2 medakas in here, the water quality is just going to deteriorate like in a matter of a couple feedings, right? Because they're going to poop in there and the ammonium level is going to go up. But you have this little confinement for them to do their dance, to do their rock and roll, but they're submerged in this water volume. So that's the whole idea of this. So again, this is for a temporary, I'd like to say it's a temporary love hotel. That's what they call in Japan, where they do the rock and roll. You're only there for a little short time doing the thing, and off you go. So I'm not sure yet. So regardless, I have this set up. I don't like using brand new water. I let it sit a little bit. I did put some dechlorinator over here because in Pacifica I have chloramine. Chloramine doesn't naturally evaporate like it does, but it takes forever. Chlorine, you leave it out for 24 hours, it gasses out. Chloramine, it just stays for, I read like over up to weeks. I don't want to risk any of that stuff. So it's garden hose water, dechlorinator, and I leave it out for at least 24 hours. So just getting things ready. Again, I don't know if I'm going to put the pair in these or if I'm going to put the pairs individually in these buckets. These buckets are awesome because you could just carry them around to different areas. And I like that. I like that because I'll tell you the reason why I like that. I like that because if I could get this, I gotta fix that later. I like that because I have a real small space here. And because the sun moves around during the months, the area where I get the sun, majority of the day, changes a lot. So it's nice when I'm able to move the containers around with ease. So I put them in ideal places, right? It might be super nice now. Throughout the day, I get the longest amount of sun casting over these. But 2 weeks from now, this area may become shaded after like 2 p.m. So having them in a smaller container allows me to move them in different sections of my parameters so that they get the optimum amount of sun. Vice versa, if you live in a place where it's super, super hot, like Arizona, Texas, you want to be able to move them into the shade because the sun's going to boil the container. It's going to boil your fish. So, again, easy to control when you have something that's easy to maneuver. So there are also other techniques, right? You could make a shade on top so you don't get the direct sun, etc., etc. But yeah, they stopped doing the rock and rolling. It's past 3, so I should have hit record a little earlier, but I didn't get back in time. So hopefully next week I'll be able to identify which pairs are doing their thing or hitting it up really well. Emotionally, and I could do the process of, well, that one's starting to dance a little bit, or it's already tired out. They've been trying to dance all day. They definitely last longer than us, so we'll see. Right. Hopefully there was some information today. Again, it's just me babbling. Just got back from Rockaway Brewery, and I needed to observe these babies to see how they were mating or matching up. It's a matching up process. So I figure I just hit record. And I really love the way these babies look over here. You could see the turquoise lame on the tails and the fins, right? Like on that one. There's a little yellow, which I love. The yellow shows up a lot more when they're in a lighter container, but awesome. Right, domo arigato, Medaka Fien, for sending over the t-shirt. This will be the next raffle item for all you Medaka heads. All you Medaka heads, I can't thank you enough for just like, hey man, I'm just doing it for, it's all to have fun, to just get some type of group going, to feel like we are passionate about something. For me, it's beer. For me, it's Medaka. For me, it's just trying things out. So, all right. Domo arigato. We'll do it again next week, hopefully. Right, over and out. Yeah. MedakaMetal Cell. Hit me up on Instagram. DM me on @MedakaMetal over on Instagram, and just every single question I get, I will answer. I will try to answer, and hopefully I have the answer to your question. Right. Domo arigato. We'll do it again. All right, outs.